Good evening, everybody. Give it just another minute for everybody to pop on in here. Just make sure to put yourself on mute. Make sure you put your information in the chat, your name, phone, email, your market center number, and then the city and state that you're located in. I am Kimberly Gibbons. I am the Director of Productivity in Houston, Texas. I have been in real estate since 2008. I was with that balloon and popped that balloon and moved over to Keller Williams in 2014 and became a productivity coach pretty quickly. From moving over, I realized that I was already doing that role, just didn't know that it actually had a name for it. So I have been a coach for a little over 9 years, and I absolutely love what I do. I was at an event last week and somebody said, how are you? Because, usually about 2 to 3 years, maybe, a coach lasts. And I said, if I ever forget what it's like to be a brand new agent, whether full-time, dual career, part-time, but if I ever forget what it's like to be a new agent, because that one word that you hear over and over, at least for the first 30 days or so, is overwhelmed. We tend to throw so much at you, and I never want to forget what that's like, so that because I absolutely am passionate about what I do, and I want to make sure that you guys get the education and guidance that you need. So I did put my information in the chat. If you ever have any questions, I'm absolutely always here. So we are doing session 9 tonight, capture more leads. And again, I went to if you've heard of Glover U, I went to Florida last week, and this was the big topic, leads, doubling down on your leads. What lead resources are you utilizing? So I was really excited that this was actually the session that I was going to be teaching tonight. So your participation guide is in the chat. So if you need to download that, make sure that you do. So tonight we're going to be going over generating your leads, growing your database, capturing your leads in your open houses, capturing your leads with social media, and more leads. So far in Ignite, you've been making, contact with your sphere. Those are people who know you. You know them. They already have a trust factor with you. They want to help you grow your business. So in this session, we're going to discover other sources of leads. There are methods for meeting new people, getting to know them, and having them know you. So you are going to hear it over and over again. The more leads, the better. And the more quality leads converted to contacts, the better. So let's hear a little bit about progress with your success systems from last week. Are you, have an accountability partner? Who are you contacting? How are those conversations going? Unmute yourself and tell me a little bit about it.
Actually reached out. I sent an email to a few agents in the Ignite, and only one respond. Actually, we are one responded and one from my actual market center about doing script practice, and we actually started last week, just to keep that,
Got to keep the momentum going.
Yeah. So that's been working out good. So
I love it. I love it. And and the scripts and dialogue, it's just a conversation. And the more that you practice it, the easier it just flows out of you. Those words become your own. So absolutely get a script partner, and, and set that time. I've got some of my agents do the 5 a.m. club, which for me is just like, no, thank you. I'm not a morning person, but I'm a late night owl. So I'll do anything in the evening that I possibly can. But, have that in place. Any, wins for the last week? Any challenges from the last week?
I have challenges because I'm a part-timer. So I do work 8 to 5, and, my coach always tell me, try to contact or speak with 10 to 15 people a day, which is kind of hard for me. So I halvened it into 7. So normally around this time, because I do work 8 to 5, but it's not really strict. So I can just leave if I need to. I'm very flexible. But it's just hard to, and then I'm new to the city as well. So I'm in Tennessee. I'm originally from Alabama. So I'm new to the city, don't know many people, work from home. So I'm trying to find out avenues. I recently been contacting divorce lawyers I've been door knocking. So I've been doing my farming. I've door knocked. I speak to everyone when I go to the grocery store. I wear my name badge when I'm out, my name tag. I speak with the waitress and, waiters.
Those are all amazing things. And, make sure that your calendar is supporting that. What that job, 8 to 5 or what that is. It's already on your schedule. Make sure that you know what you're putting in for those times. And if you can't do 15, you break it down to 7. If 7 doesn't work that day, give me 3. As long as you're just making some sort of progress every single day, doing the door flyering, absolutely. That's an opportunity to speak with people. How about you guys, do a high level of open houses in your area?
I've been doing more open houses. I try to do at least 2 per month, at least minimum. So to get to know people.
Yeah. In a normal market, takes about 125 conversations to set one appointment. This market it's taken a little bit more. So when you're thinking about how many conversations did I have, this week, this 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, think about that number. And, because that's when you get to start to track your conversion ratios. Okay. So you're doing all the right things, I promise. The more that you raise your hand and let people know what you're doing. Okay. Even if someone knows, it's somebody's going to say absolutely. So you're doing top of mind awareness at a very high level, because that's what it's about. Everybody needs to know what you're doing so that when they go out in their sphere or their events, they hear of a need, they automatically think of you. So keep doing all those things. Yes, ma'am.
So we're kind of not in a quote unquote normal market yet, kind of trending that way. So how would you, what do I want to say, change those numbers? Would it be higher or lower?
It would be much higher. It's going to take many more conversations. So
that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, so we're hearing anywhere between 175 and 215. That's what I've been hearing. Just at one appointment. It's doubling down on everything right now. But just think, if you have that many conversations, how many people that you're staying top of mind with. All right. So again, generate your leads, grow your database, capture leads with open houses, capture leads with social media, and then capturing more leads. So today's agenda, systems that work. We're going to talk about prospecting versus marketing. Okay, a gold mine of referrals, different sources, making sure that we capture every lead. And then we'll just recap and do some ahas, and then just ensuring that you are doing your daily success systems and have those in place. So there's a quote. If anybody wants to unmute themselves and read it, I would love for you to do that.
You love people, but at the same time, you haven't yet learned to love hunting for them.
Absolutely. So when you hear that, you love people, but at the same time, you haven't yet learned to love hunting for them. It's just, it's not really, it's not hunting about, the chase, that sort of type of hunting. It's really about learning to love lead generation. Okay. It's the hunt for people who are able, ready, and willing to buy or sell real estate now or soon. It's just, hunting is for a way to communicate. Hunting is a way to build relationships. Okay, looking for those people that you can help. So that's what hunting is. Everybody is an opportunity to build a relationship. Okay, making sure that we're staying relationship based and not transactional based. Okay, lead generation is not always fun. Okay, it's not pretty, but it's an absolute necessity in your business. So we're going to learn more resources or sources for leads so that you never run out and you begin to love hunting. And so our objective for today are to gain a deeper understanding of how to create and disseminate lead generation messages, expand on your referral strategies. Okay, so by the end of this session, you're going to choose top 4 lead generation sources, lay out some strategies and timelines to generate those leads from those sources. We've said all along that Keller Williams is built on models and systems. So naturally, there's a system that's simple for capturing more leads. And it's a system that, that you find will work. So your number one job is to find ways to get in the path of motivated buyers and sellers. Okay, that's our number one job. Okay, it's, we need to be reminded of our number one job as a real estate agent is always going to be lead generation. Without leads, we have no sales. Therefore, we have no business. We are in the business of lead generation. Okay, leads are everywhere. Okay, we always want to be hyper aware for where they might just appear because they are truly everywhere. So I know that Gary's doing a lot of Thrive in 25. And I was like, where is all this Thrive in 25 coming from? But there's t-shirts, because I go on there and see if there's anything new that I can buy, t-shirts, but it's all about the shift book. So you'll hear us reference that a lot, so I have mine right here with me at all times. But it's page 25 of the shift book and really talking about, most people lead a flow with the tides life. Their careers and their fortune seems to rise and fall with the tides of the market. So when things are going really well, anything and everything works, which that's what we've seen for the last several years, their boats float. What they fail to realize is that literally all boats float at high tide and no captain gets credit for that. So when times get tough and the tide goes out, all of a sudden, not everything works. So their boats don't float. So those quick to adjust will have a floating boat on the rocks or out at sea. The choice is yours. So there's a whole section from 25 to page 26, 27 in regards to Thrive in 25. I thought it was talking about 2025. I'm like, oh, that's a couple years off. What is that? But it's true. You get to, make a choice. There's three type of different people in a market shift, one that, fears the worst, some that are just, matter of fact about it, and ones that really dig in deep. This book is written to work in a shifting market. So if you haven't had a chance to dig into your shift book, make sure that you do, because the message is clear. And it is, right now we're just doubling down on everything that we possibly can do. So the 2 M's of lead generation, message and method. Okay, so this slide really, depicts a system to help make your lead generation more purposeful. Okay, so we're always, working to be from E to P, so we call this message and method of your lead generation the 2 M's. Okay, make sure that you're following along in your participation guide, page 9.3. So if you have any notes that you want to take. So this is about having a message and using a method to drive the message to your desired audience. The message must, 1, match your market, and 2, make an offer for immediate response. Have you heard of MOFIR? MOFIR, make offer for immediate response. So anything that you do, you want to make sure that you're matching the market by tailoring the intended message to the sentiments and market conditions of a target group in the area in which you operate. People hear things on the news all the time, but they want to know hyper locally what's important to them. How's it affecting them? Paying attention to your market statistics in your local area. Make sure that anything, the message that you put out there is hyper local to them. Okay. And then always have a call to action that can be direct. Call me now, text me now, email me now, or indirect, which is, maybe look at my website, okay, to learn more information. Okay, or click on this link to read about. Okay. What could be an offer that would generate a response that possibly could make your phone ring or generate immediate responses to a text or a social media post? When you're doing a social media post or putting something out there, make sure that you're creating that MOFIR that gets, some action that's going to have a reason for them to contact you back.
So I guess I'm a little confused now what the difference between the MOFIR is and the call to action.
So it's the same thing. Make an offer for immediate response. That's what a MOFIR is. It's anything that's going to create an immediate response for them to contact you.
Okay, so just another name for it.
Just
Okay.
another name for it. Yep, absolutely. We just use the word MOFIR a lot. So I was just making sure that you have heard what that is and what that stands for. We love our acronym. We used to have a class all about KW acronyms.
I know, it's the death of me. I wish they would cut it out.
Coming from the military, I don't mind it at all. I'm used to it, but it can be a lot. Yep, go ahead.
I'm from the last class. I'm just trying to figure out how to balance giving too much information, but also that we were talking about, incorporating your personal life and having that balance where you're just not flooding your timeline with a bunch of facts and graphs and things of that nature.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we talk about 6 to 8 posts a week. And, there's a strategy of making it, personal and fun. And then, and then maybe work related. And then, something, fun, and then something work related. So mix it up. So there is a balance. I have 3,000 people on my Facebook. I've got a business page, but everybody knows what I do. So I like to, to mix it on my, my life's, an open book. So I don't mind mixing it up a little bit with both. Anything to stay top of mind. I'm in the Houston Market Center. So we have the largest MLS across the country. And they do such a good job of every single week, we get a 5-minute market update that we're able to share those numbers. We have something called List Reports that sends us a fun social media post every single day. And then I'm sure I'll post some other things, but I just mix it up a little bit. But just as long as you're doing, you're building that brand out there and people are, know what you do. That's the most important thing. So the other part is method. Okay, so there's 2 primary methods of getting your message out to your target group, and that's prospecting and marketing. Okay, you covered this earlier in your lead generation segment. Okay, so we're not going to go into that too much because I know you guys have talked about this in a previous session. Let me let Justine. But prospecting and marketing. Okay, making sure that you're time blocking. Okay, to prepare and take action and maintain that. So when you're truly on the hunt for leads, you're going to find many different opportunities. Okay, you're at the coffee shop. Okay, when you buy, a red car, do you see a ton of red cars? Yes. Okay, it's the same thing. You could be in the grocery store, at the coffee shop, all these different places. You're going to hear people talking about real estate. Let me hear what they're saying about real estate, see how I can help them. But you're going to hear people. And, what do? Do you just let them talk? You overhear them. Maybe they're talking about going to an open house. Maybe they're talking about selling their house. Who's the brave ones that go right up to them and say, I overheard you talking about an open house. Or are you looking for a home in this area? Who's the ones that are doing that?
I just did it last week.
Yes. Don't ever miss an opportunity. Absolutely. It gives you a chance to connect with individuals in a way that's going to build rapport and trust. Okay. It's one of the best ways is with questions, open-ended questions, the same thing that you do in an open house because you have such a limited time to build that relationship and build that rapport. So have those questions ready. Okay. Look for opportunities to be of service to them. Be a resource. Okay. I call FSBOs and, expireds. And especially FSBOs, I don't want to let them know that I have a buyer. That's not what I tell them. It's about building that relationship. How long have you been on the market? Are you hosting your own open houses and setting your own appointments? How's that going for you? I can bring up, do you have a seller's disclosure that you could share with me? In my area, we have a lot of water districts. Do they have that specific form? Do they need a lead-based paint form? I'm always going to be a resource because when they're tired of answering that phone and opening up that door for people, who are they going to think about first? Me. Because I've been, a resource for them. I've helped them in ways that maybe somebody else didn't. Look for those opportunities to be of service. You could say, I have a list of homes in the area for sale. I'd love to connect with you so that you can stay informed of what's coming, on the market. Maybe if it's appropriate, ask them to, to learn more about their situation. Okay, get the appointment. We can talk about appointment, then I can gather the information, and then I can talk about their motivation. But I want to get that appointment. And, don't forget, you have the Ford method. Okay, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams method to connect with some people. Okay, and deepen that relationship. So never miss an opportunity while you're out and about. Okay, leads can come from anywhere. So approach, connect, and ask great questions. Any ahas so far? Agents helping agents. That's what I call ahas. Anything anybody wants to share?
I like the home equity, approach instead of a CMA, the home equity. That's pretty clever. I like that a lot.
I would love to provide you an equity analysis. Spring and fall.
I like the FISBO. You can help people get their forms and everything that they may need. That's a really good touch because they're not familiar with those documents that you're able to provide for them.
Yep. Absolutely. They've already raised their hand. They want to sell their home. Okay. They're trying, and some of them can do it, and I applaud them. Okay. But I also just want to be a resource for them, because they get tired of answering the phone and answering those questions. And when they're tired of it, call me. But I never, sometimes they'll get those calls. Well, I have a buyer and, can I come see your house? Not right away. That's not how, it's not how I get past, that wall with them. Expireds, we call it expireds and terminated in our area. Same thing. They've raised their hand. They want to sell their house. That's what I'm here to help you do. But there's just a piece of, of pain that I've got to get past. Either they expired and they didn't know they expired. So we did a lot of calls on, New Year's Day and then on that Monday as well. And there was a lot of surprised people because agents put on the MLS that their expiration date is 12/31 of whatever year. So January 1st and 2nd are the best, call days of the whole year. So that sometimes there's a little bit of pain. They terminated their relationship with that agent, but they still want to, sell their home. I get past that little pain point and I may have their listing up. I may talk about their pictures. I don't place blame with that other agent, but in the end, I, a little bit, passively I do, because it is the agent's, fault that their house didn't sell. And maybe it was the pictures or lack of information or, lack of open houses or social media presence. There's a reason, price point, anything like that. But the deeper conversations, the more questions you ask, you start to hear them go, okay, maybe she can help me. Don't miss an opportunity whatsoever, because they're everywhere.
I want to say something, please.
Please.
I always have a hard time of coming across as possibly too pushy. I guess maybe I don't know the right way to say things when I have an opportunity like that, because I do stand up and say something, but it almost feels awkward.
And, and sometimes that's a practicing of our dialogue. The more that you practice, dialogue, or you write out questions, those come easier to your mind. Knowing what your personality is. Does your market center do the DISC or your KPA? That knowing who you are, and then in turn, how you work with other people. I just did an eye-opening session with my leadership and staff week before last, and it was, we all know our love language, but this is, your appreciation language in the workplace. So understanding how you work, and if you're a high D and you come across a little bit more direct, that person may not receive that well. But that's what I say. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Listen twice as much as we talk. So if you ask questions, if you approach them, then listen. Listen to what they're saying and then respond. And then ask them another open-ended question, listen, and then respond. The more dialogue, and script practice that you do, the more, questions that they'll just come automatically. And it allows you to listen at a deeper level. And then those things won't be so awkward.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we've talked a little bit about prospecting versus marketing, okay, in your earlier session. So we're going to go just a little bit deeper into that topic. Here's another one. Lead generation is a contact sport with simple rules. It means making contact with people through prospecting and marketing. And what do you hear? I have a t-shirt that says, real estate is a contact sport. You have to contact people. I tell my new agents every day, I'm like, it's not going to just fall in your lap. I wish that it did. And I hope that it does, but we know hope is not a plan. So we have to talk to people, and I tell them it's, voice to voice, it's face to face, it's belly to belly, and it's calling, it's texting, it's emailing, it's Facebook Messenger. Any of those, as long as I can have some communication back and forth, that's all I want. Hey, let me communicate with somebody back and forth.
I have a question. I have a friend I've been talking to, and I let them know that I started doing this business. She told me that she'd been receiving emails from a different agent, that she's a friend, like a faraway friend, and every once in a while she follow up with her. And now she's like, I know you helping me, and I've been sending her houses. And she's like, I want to be honest with you. How shall I do it? Shall I cancel her, or shall I start with you? So I just told her, you have the option, either be with me or be with the other person, or you can just reach out to the other person and tell them that your friend just started this business. And if she wants, I can do a referral fees for her, unless if she wants to continue with the other agent. She said she doesn't have a contact with her, like a contract, but just that she's been sending her the emails that constant. And I think it's every quarter she follow up with her to see. So is that a good, or just leave her with for the other agent?
That's right. There's an agent for everybody. And the thing is, that agent, is sending her stuff, but it's, it's our buyers and our sellers' decision who they want to work with. I just, like you said, I always want to make sure that there's, nothing, written that I'm interfering with. So you ensured that, and she hasn't signed anything, and make it, keep your communication going. It's a business decision on their part. So make sure that you're, living up to everything that you're going to do when you start, working with them. Yep. There is more than enough business to go around for everybody. It's just who's going to do the things to grow their business, who's going to have the conversations, who's going to host the open houses, who's going to make sure that you're consistently touching your database to stay top of mind. Those are the agents that are going to, grab the market share, especially in this market. You're doing the absolutely right thing. All right, capturing leads. You've seen this chart before in one of the previous sessions. Everyone and every lead you prospect is somewhere on this graph. Okay, the question is, are they at the top? Are they at the bottom? Okay, or somewhere in between. So everyone's timelines and life experience are different. So it's make sure that it's our job to best predict where they are at all times. Do you only prospect to leads that maybe are at the top, that are moving towards buying? Or are you making sure that you're hitting them at all times? Okay, and this is where your command database comes into play. Okay, if you've heard of the, do the database 2, the DTD2, where you are consistently touching, 2 letters a week, and then texting a 3rd letter, and then it runs for 1 quarter, and then you start over again, so that you touch your database 4 times a year consistently, so that you're not having any contact bias, is what we call it. If it's A&W this week, then I'm contacting, all of my clients in my database with the letters A and W. And so even if I talk to somebody with those letters, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I still reach out to them. Okay, because nothing hurts more than if I say, oh, well, I just talked to, them. They're not thinking about anything. And then that next quarter rolls around and it's A&W week again. And you pick up the phone and talk to them, and they're like, oh, we just put our house up for sale, a month ago. You miss that opportunity. Making sure that you are touching the people, that are possibly making a move at all these different times consistently. It helps build relationships. Okay, every lead that you catch and build a relationship is a potential buyer or seller at some point, and or a referral source. Okay, so when we ask, who do we prospect for and when? The answer is always going to be everyone, all the time. So prospecting versus marketing. Okay, you talked a little bit about this in session 5. Okay, it's here again to remind you of the 2 different methods of lead generation, prospecting and marketing, and that your business should be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Prospecting, you see right here, it's immediate. Okay, it's proactive. It's time sensitive, okay? And then marketing enhanced, that's long-term results. It's passive, okay? And it's money intensive. So you got to make sure that, you can do, some of these things you can do, that are prospecting can essentially be free, okay? Simply requires, your time to complete it. Marketing costs money, okay? It's more of a wait and see method. 1 through 4, marketing materials that I send out, they just went in the trash. Okay, maybe that 5th, 6th, and 7th time they got something from me, they're like, oh, this agent is, dedicated to our neighborhood. I'm starting to, see her signs, getting familiar. Okay, I may not make it to the junk drawer just yet. Okay, but that, anything after, maybe 8 through 12, now I've done them consistently for a year, they recognize me. Okay, so now they see that I've definitely, I'm, paying attention to what's going on in their neighborhood. I'm, being a resource for them. I'm providing them information, okay, that's useful to them. And now maybe I get, maybe put up on the fridge or, somewhere on their desk that's a little bit more important where, things go. But you got to think about that. That takes time. Okay, it's money intensive, it's passive. You've got to wait for those results. So prospecting builds a business that's going to thrive in down markets. Okay, so the last 2 sessions, they talked about open houses and social media. So prospecting helps support awareness and lead generation around your open houses. And social media is definitely a prospecting tool, as well as a tool for marketing. But this is why we do prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Okay, I am all about my coaching clients' budget, because they see bright, shiny things. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. Okay, do we have the marketing dollars? Do we have the budget dollars to do that? I'm all about have a closing and, and purchase something, have a closing and invest in something. So that we're just not out there, because as new agents, you get these phone calls. Oh, buy this program, do this, do that. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. So prospecting, several different ways. Of course, this is also in your participant guide for the list of prospecting sources from the MREA. There are many different prospecting sources to share your messaging, through. Has anybody, what stands out and what have you guys tried so far, if you wouldn't mind sharing?
In terms of I'm sorry, you asked, what do we have done prospecting wise?
Done anything on this list so far?
I've done like door knocking in the summer or spring, and I actually ended up getting a listing.
I love that.
And I should, but I listed it, and we are going to relist in the summer. Spring,
okay.
Because one of the sellers decided they weren't ready anymore. But I've door knocked. I've made calls before from FSBO to FSBOs, okay. And some social media.
Okay. Yeah, face to face. FSBOs, expired, circle prospecting. We do a lot of circle prospecting in my market center. I use Kohl's Resource. It's one of the prospecting services we have in Texas. And so anybody that has a new listing, anybody that's going to do any type of farming, open houses, I can put the address in. It's already a scrubbed list, so I don't have to worry about the do not call list, which is amazing. And, we call the just listed script. Hey, I'm just calling to let you know that we, because it's we and our, because everything in the market center belongs to all of us. So we can use those words, we and our. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that we have a brand new listing that just came up in your neighborhood at, 123 Main Street. Just wanted to let you know that we're also, hosting an open house this weekend on Saturday from 2 to 4. I'd love for you to stop by. Anybody that's looking to move into the, to the neighborhood, bring them on by. I also want to apologize in advance for, any heavy traffic on the street that might inconvenience you, because we are really promoting this listing at a very high level. Okay. And then I, depending on what the communication, is like, I say, I let them know, typically when a new listing goes up in a neighborhood, 1 to 4 other homeowners also start thinking about selling their home. Is that something you're thinking about? And then I can just, depending on what that answer is, take it in that direction. So you can do a circle prospecting list about, just listed, just sold, letting them know a property just sold. And, let them know maybe, what the days on the market were. If it sold above asking price, let them know that information. It's a great way, because all I'm doing is being a resource of information. Okay, it's the same thing if you're door knocking or you're flyering. We like to call it flyering in our area. People are like, well, because some neighborhoods you can't solicit. I'm not soliciting in any way. I'm not asking for them to buy anything. All I'm being is a resource of information. It's an amazing service to utilize because it just gives, if you're going to be farming, your neighborhood, then you can upload that to your command database. Okay, especially if it's your neighborhood, then the neighborhood, then you can, do a smart plan an intro smart plan, introducing yourself, let them know that you live and work in that, in the area, and that next month they're going to get a, monthly neighborhood nurture from you, letting them know the most up-to-date information about what's going on in the neighborhood. And then you can build it from there. It's just a great way to start, building not just your database, but getting out there and being top of mind. So when you look at this list, so we see circle prospecting, okay, we see FSBO's expireds, community outreach, anything that you're involved in, charity, volunteer work, your key relationships, right? Teaching and speaking opportunities, providing meals, door-to-door canvassing, network events, booths and kiosks. I just had somebody who came in that said, hey, they're doing this educational booth. I'm like, absolutely. Well, who can I take with you? And I, offered some people and they're like, okay, done. We got this. And still walk-ins. We still have walk-ins in our market center. So all of those opportunities, but what's the one thing that's missing from this list? Social media. Okay, so remember that, the MREA is a little bit older. Okay, this model, everything on there still works, but social media is missing because they have not updated that. So we know that social media is prospecting as well. So how do you think it's best to approach prospecting? Do you think it's best to select several different sources to try at once? Or is there a source that would be best to start out with and follow through?
I would say according to the seasons, I guess we're in that expired season. So
absolutely. I usually refer to this, that question in regards to everybody's been to a buffet. Okay, you've been to the buffet, you've seen, there's different types of people that go to the buffet. You see some people that go in and they fill their plates up with absolutely everything. Then they get to the table and they're like, everything's just, all on one plate. It's a little messy. There's a lot of things going on. And then you have people that walk the buffet, see everything that's there, pick and choose what they want, go back, get a new plate, go back and get some other things. So it's the same thing when you're talking about prospecting.
I guess it depends on the individual too, right? How aggressive you are, how multitasking you can be. It all depends on the certain individual.
It absolutely does. And most top agents that have been surveyed, found that they, top 4 sources, really truly gets their best return. Okay, so typically you see repeat business, referral business, sphere of influence, database. Those are typically the ones that they, that they can count on at all times, even through a different market. Okay. So my thing is make sure whatever you do, that you go and you try it for a certain amount of time, you track the results, track your conversions so that if it's truly working, for you or not. When I left Remax and came to KW, I sat down with my team leader, and who's my team leader again now, which is amazing. And he said, well, tell me all the things you spend money on. And I didn't want to, because I loved bright, shiny things, oh, let me try this. Oh, let me try this. Let me try that. But I wasn't tracking things correctly. And he just said, get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. So I got rid of it all and then started to build some things back into my business. I did FSBOs and expireds and I still do them, but I really a high level part of my business was that for 3 to 4 years. And then I got into really farming my area. But I just bright and shiny thing. I wanted to try it all. Everybody, whatever spiel they had on the phone, I'm like, okay, I'll try that, but never track the results. So that's the most important thing. Whatever source that you do choose, make sure that you're, tracking those results. So looking at this list, what have you considered pursuing? Okay, you already have sphere of influence on your list, so you can go ahead and circle that one. Anything on here stand out for you to be doing?
I thought about doing like a first home buyer seminar.
Oh, love that. I love that. First time home buyer seminars. And the thing is this, all the people that you partner in a transaction with, You get to be the facilitator of that seminar. Okay. You find a lender partner, you find a title partner, you find a inspector partner, home warranty company, insurance partner. Okay. Let them be the ones that lead the sessions. You're just there to facilitate it. Okay. Because those are the people that they're going to be talking with the lender. Okay. The next step is title company. Then it's, inspections. Okay. Then they're going to be, getting some insurance quote, possibly a home warranty. Okay. Find those partners and build that first time home buyer seminar with them. I love first time home buyer seminars.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Regarding first time home buyer seminars, I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but is it kind of taboo to attend another agent's first time home buyer seminar?
I would say no, because we love people to go and observe. It's something that we ask to do in, first time home buyer seminars. We ask them to do it for open houses. Any agents in the market center that will allow them to go on a listing presentation, a buyer's consultation. What's the best way to learn? That's the culture of KW. Raise your hand and ask, hey, I saw that you were doing a first time home buyers presentation. Would you mind if I just, jumped in and observed? Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, no. We rip off and duplicate all day long. That's what we do.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would just, ask permission and, if they're in culture, they're going to say, absolutely, come on by.
Okay.
Yep. Or here's the link here, here's the information. So marketing. So this session is, we're talking really about additional prospecting sources to think about and focus on. Okay. Here's a list of marketing sources for comparison. Okay. So there is a ton of different ones in here, and these are going to cost money. So again, the social media aspect, as far as social media advertising, Facebook ads, things like that are not on here just because, they've not updated the MREA yet. Okay. So we can quickly see that marketing has related expenses, and definitely are going to take longer to see results. Okay. I do my granddaughter's soccer, sponsorship. Do we have anybody that's going to sponsor me every year? Me. And I love to, they're like, oh, well, what kind of uniforms can we have red? So I can put KW all over everything. But that's just something, that I build into my budget because I know that that's going to, come out there. So just know your command system. Like Command, make sure that does offer an easy way to set up Facebook advertising for a low cost. So know that you can go in and learn a little bit more about that at answers.kw.com. Okay, so if you just go to answers.kw.com and search Ignite Reference Guide, okay, there are courses in Connect that will walk you through that process. Okay, so answers.kw.com. I'm probably in there at least once a day, looking up something. If not there, in KW Connect. Know that there is so much available to you if you just go in and start clicking around. Making sure that you go into your command system and you're clicking on everything. Your My KW page, click on everything. You don't know what resources that you have available to you. You're not doing that. Same thing with your MLS. Get in there and just click all over the place. Hey, you just never know what you're going to click on and go, oh, I didn't know I had that available to me. So make sure that you're doing that. KW Connect, you can go in, and if you're looking, there's going to be videos in there too, but I can also just click on documents and see what documents are available to me that an agent has shared in regards to the topic that I'm looking for as well. So we know that we have prospecting and marketing. It covers both. Okay, so there's sources that use both prospecting and marketing, open houses. Okay, you guys talked about that in session 7. Okay, geographic farming. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Seminars, events, referrals. What is a common prospecting method that we use for open houses?
The sign-in sheet.
Sign-in sheet could be one of them. Door knocking, flyer.
Door knocking, yeah.
Absolutely. So your marketing and your prospecting. Okay, It's your opportunity to, one, make that neighborhood aware of the open house, and two, invite those neighbors to the open house to meet you. Okay, they get to see an active listing in the neighborhood, perhaps refer a buyer to you. Okay, because that's the purpose of an open house. They're not there to buy the house. You're there to find another buyer, another seller, because those sellers, that neighborhood, anytime a sign goes up, they want to know what's going in that house. They want to know what that listing agent's doing, how many open houses, are going on. They want to see, they're watching the traffic. Okay, so potentially another, seller for a listing or a referral. So typically you're not in there to really sell that house. Okay, I always make sure that I know other listings that are in the area that they may not be aware of, so that I can provide that information to them. It's the same thing. Seller seminars are really going to be, I tend to partner with a home warranty company that does pre-listing inspections, okay, and or an inspector that will discuss having a pre-inspection. Title company can be involved with, with that as well. I don't have as many, people speaking. I do have a blender come in because one, sometimes sellers aren't paying attention. If they're looking to sell their home and buy another one, then they need to make sure that they're pre-approved for that new home. Okay, before they sell this one, because that happens sometimes. They're just not paying attention enough, and then they go, oh, my debt to income ratio is too high, or we need to work on, a few things before we're ready to buy, even though they currently own a house. Okay, so I want them to have that conversation. So I bring that lender in to make sure that they can do that. We also, they talk about bridge loans. Can I carry this first mortgage, while closing on the second mortgage? Do I absolutely need my proceeds from, house A in order to close on house B, and some different options? So that's who I use, that's what I have at the listing seminars. But create your own. Don't wait for somebody else. Do yours. Any ahas from the prospecting and marketing section?
I definitely want to attend someone's seminar.
So we're going to talk about the gold mine of referrals. Okay. Many agents miss out on referrals. Okay. And yet it can be the easiest and most lucrative source of leads. Okay. So imagine if a lead simply came to you as referrals from your sphere of friends, your families, your coworkers, your neighbors. Okay. It's the easiest source of business, and it requires you to stay top of mind. We're all going to drive into our neighborhood. We're all going to see another sign in the yard. Okay. It hurts. It hurts the heart. And, I'll have agents that get mad at the neighbor. And so I have to say, well, we might want to look in the mirror on that. What did you not do to make sure that that neighbor remembered that you were in real estate? Sometimes they don't like that question. And it's a really good reminder, to make sure that we're doing all the right things consistently so that we stay top of mind. I have an agent that I've known. I worked in banking with him 20 plus years ago, and we were at an event last week in Florida, and I know that his business is referrals. And so he went back and looked, and today he said 96% of his business is referrals. And he just said, I've noticed that, I'm missing, some of now their family, and people like that he used to be getting because he wasn't paying attention to it as much. So now, that was a big thing. We just had our ALC retreat this morning, and that was one of those things, is really doubling down and making sure that he's not missing any of those referrals from knowing that he's in the business. So there's different types of referrals, okay, and the system to put in place to make the most of referrals. Okay, so there's client referrals, there's agent to agent referrals, worldwide referrals, and then B2B, business to business referrals. Okay, have you guys looked or played with the referral platform inside Command? Just put in an area of, where you maybe have other friends and family located across the country. Build some referral resources in those different areas. I have 141 referral agents around the country that I can automatically go to if I have somebody in that area. I built those relationships. Okay, so we can do referrals back to back. It even shows you when you get in that referral network in your particular area. I'm in Houston, a lot of agents, back and forth to Austin, to San Antonio. Okay, so we get to track, and then it shows me even across the United States, the number of referrals that come from the Houston area. So I like to be able, so I make sure to build those resources. I'm from upstate Western New York. So I've built some, relationships there. Can you put that in your market center, Facebook page, or if you guys use Backagent, and send out a message to the market center and say, anybody, hosting, a first-time homebuyer seminar and or a seller seminar in the near future that I could, attend and observe? Or would anybody like to partner with me? Once in a while, somebody will say that. And I'm like, what word did I say that made you, think of that? Because I've been in Texas a little while. There's certain words that not, when I do go home, they're like, don't bring that y'all back here.
Question for you. Now on these referrals, do they have to be within KW or could they be from outside?
They don't. They don't. We love to keep it within the KW family. You actually, if you do a referral within the network, you can track it the whole way. But it doesn't have to be. Not every area has a KW that's close. But you're able to see where agents to work. If you can keep it in the family, keep it in the family. If not, that's okay too. I have other friends inside, from other brokerages. That's all right. Worldwide referrals. Have you have you gone to the KW Worldwide website? Just kwworldwide.com. We're in 50 plus other countries, including Canada, and we're always growing. We have a huge international clientele in the Houston area, moving from. So we've got a international committee that really works at a high level. Because they can be licensed in one state and do international referrals business. So a little bit of both. So know your worldwide, offices, especially if you're traveling. If you're traveling anywhere, see if we have an office there, stop in. Right? And then of course, business to business referrals. You have partners. You want to make sure that there's a reciprocal relationship there. If I'm, referring, all of these clients to this particular lender, then, he's making sure that he does, if he's got somebody that comes to them, that doesn't have an agent, then, he hands those out. And so make sure that there's some reciprocation in the preferred partners that you're utilizing. So for client referrals, we want to make sure that we're always adding value. Share your KW app, share market statistics that are hyper local to them. Create your lender list, create your title list, create your just all of your vendor lists so that you can provide that, to your listings, okay, at your buyer's consultation, build that, that vetted vendor list. We have preferred partners in our office. Those are always a go-to first, but I've also built my own, vendors over the years that I absolutely trust. Okay. I know that their communication is excellent. That they're going to respond to my clients, because that's important to me. If I refer somebody and they just, don't answer the phone or don't respond to a text and aren't there to help them, then they're not going to be on my list anymore. Okay. We want to make sure that we're asking for referrals. We want to reward. That's a big thing. Reward your referrals. Okay. If you can find advocates in your business that can, refer you, 2 to 6 deals a year, make sure that you love on them extra. Okay. Do little pop buys, to them. I got, my lender partner just, sent me yesterday morning, a $5, Starbucks gift card just through text. And it's just one thing that he's really, focusing on this year, but it was super sweet. It's just little things. The dollar store can be your best friend. It's because it's not really about the item. It's the thought process behind it. Okay. Handwritten notes. People love handwritten notes. We don't get them enough in the mail anymore. So either dropping them off or dropping them in the mail. Okay. But taking time to do these things. We talked a little bit about it earlier. Top agents rely on their sphere and clients as their greatest source of referrals. And most, a lot of agents say at least 90% of their business comes from referrals. So it begins with setting the expectations with your sphere that your business runs on referrals. Okay, and that you trust them to provide referrals of people they know who possibly have a real estate need. Okay, so set that expectation, provide the value. Okay, you got to make sure that you're deserving of the referral. Okay, you want to make sure that you're referable. Find those advocates that you can love on, that talk about your business, share your business card, share your app, any of those things. Just, love on those people. So the relationship with your sphere and clients is like I was saying earlier, it must be reciprocal. Okay, you provide value, they trust you, they know the value you provide, they refer your friends and family to you. That value exchange, it never stops. Okay, so what are some of the ways that you can provide value besides the three, listed on this slide, on just this slide? What else can you do? Is there anything that you can think of other than these things? Can you be a resource of information? Can you be a problem solver? Can you elevate your service even more or have some concierge service? Just being caring and supportive. Getting those referrals does mean asking for them, not just one time, every time you connect. Okay, especially after you've provided any type of value. You want to make sure that you're asking that for referral. When is the best time to ask for a referral?
Well, for me, I've been asking for referrals from my hometown, which I'm out of state. So everyone in Alabama that I know, anyone that's moving to Tennessee, I want your referral. So it works out.
Absolutely.
And then it's a 30%, back in my pocket. So that's good.
Yep. Always. Whenever there's a moment, maybe with the client expresses gratitude, they're just happy and excited. It's a great time. The closing table, okay, and all throughout the transaction, okay, at the consultation, the contract, and of course, like I just said, at the close of the transaction, when and hopefully the client is at the happiest. I
also ask them to give a review on Google as well.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. You want those reviews. Absolutely. That time between, for us, usually when the title, rep goes out to either make a copy of documents, everything's finalized, they're, either putting their package together. That's, I let them know a couple of things about, homestead exemption, that they're already going to be getting stuff in the mail that you've already paid for. So if you get anything in the mail, let me know. I'll tell you if it's trash or not. And then that's when I ask for, what, we've had a great, transaction. Do you know anyone else that would benefit, from this? So anytime is a great time, as long as we are asking for them. There is a couple of sample conversations inside your participation guide. So my goal by the end of the transaction is for you to be so thrilled that you will tell everyone about me. Or who do you know that would like an experience like you've had? If I've provided a stellar experience, it would be the greatest gift if you refer me to your friends, your family, and your coworkers, so I may provide them the same experience. Those are some great ones, and those are in your participation guide. So again, talking just a little bit, if, when you do, get a referral, whether it's business, turns into business or not, I still reward that behavior, by providing that referral, some sort of simple gift. I may, do something a little bit more, once the transaction closes. But I definitely, want to make sure that I take care of them at a high level. Track who provides you any type of referrals. Okay, make sure that you can create a tag in your command database that just, tags them as referral. And then you can go in and maybe once a quarter, filter that referrals, tab out and make sure that you're touching them. Handwritten note, or, anything else that, that you're going to just love on them. When we love Popeyes, just something cute. There's, a holiday every single month, except for August. And even, just quirky holidays that you can do something, and just drop it on by, but take the time to do that. You can learn more about gaining client referrals. So there is a session inside KW Connect. It's called Fill Your Funnel with Client Referrals. So it's a series, no ceiling, level up your lead generation on Connect. So know that you can find that in there. Again, KW Connect is an amazing resource for additional guidance on these things. You can just probably go in there and plug in client referrals and or level up lead generation, and it'll probably come up right up. So agent to agent referrals, agents in the market center, in this class, you're from different states, have everybody's information, start to, to grow that network. Okay, you're going to meet agents from other brokerages while conducting business. Make sure that, if they've done an amazing job, one, you might want to let your leadership team know, and you want to make sure to connect with them in the future. You may wonder why an agent would refer a buyer or seller to you. What that might be. Could it be an agent in your market center is focused on listings and maybe chooses to offer those buyer clients, refer those out? Okay, we don't allow intermediary within our market center. So if you have a listing, you have to refer the buyer side, we typically say an agent in our office, because we want everybody to have representation. We live in a litigious society. So we want everybody to have, representation. Maybe an agent's, referring a client that's outside of their distance that they're willing to work. Okay. Houston, for us, it takes an hour and a half to get from one side, an hour and a half to get to the other side, north, south, east, and west. Okay. For me to get to San Antonio, it takes me an hour and a half to even get outside of Houston. So some people are not going to drive from the north side that live on, the south side. We also have competency. Our Texas Real Estate Commission talks about competency. I can sell in the entire state of Texas, which we know is huge. And if I don't have competency in that area, then I'm not allowed to. So I'm going to refer that business, to somebody else. And maybe an agent specializes in a particular price point or neighborhood or type of home. And of course, another town, another state, moving from, which is typically what happens the most. So build your referral networks. Okay. Make sure that you stay top of mind with those agents so they think of you first when they need to refer. Okay. Love on them a little bit. Okay. Keep in mind that you're competing with other agents for their attention. Okay. You should be constantly thinking of creative ways to stand out, be different, and be remembered. Get in there and plug into that agent referral business, build that system. So when an agent within our system refers a client to you, of course, you agree to pay that agent a certain percentage of that commission and vice versa. Okay. When I refer it out, same thing. So for referring clients you cannot serve to other areas helps everyone, you, the agent, and the client. They're going to be well taken care of by somebody that serves that area, and you're going to get some mailbox money. There is nothing wrong with mailbox money. So please build those networks. Again, we want to make sure that we are growing that agent referral network, keeping track of it. Okay. Meeting, whoever you meet throughout your course of business, reach out to agents in other cities and states. You can look, like I said, you can go into that referral platform and you'll be able to see the highest level of, moving to and from where you're located. Okay? So manage that, systematize your agent referral network, and be purposeful about it. Okay. Just as you're going to do with your systems for leads and contacts, you're building relationships, you're providing value. And then you want us to reciprocate that and maintain, of course, keep your network up to date, stay in communication, okay, and make sure that you're tracking all referrals going, coming and going. Is anybody currently working referrals or has delved into the referral network?
I have a couple of people reach out to me to ask me if I can add them to my referrals. That was my first time from last class.
Awesome. I love it. So inside command, you just click on the referral platform and then you can play around in there and you can search by production. You can search for listing agents, for buyer's agents, commercial. There's tons of different ways that you can search. I usually like to narrow it down just a little bit more. And then, my uncle called me one day and said, he had just a couple of questions. I said, hold up, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm moving back from the West Coast to the East Coast. I'm like, well, you have not lived on the East Coast in 40 plus years. So that was a big event in just that. And I said, well, have you had the opportunity to interview some agents? He said, no. And I said, oh, you know what? I know the best agents that work in your area. Let me take that off your plate. I'm going to interview them and then I'll give you their information. You guys can have some conversations. and we, platform, interviewed 3 agents because I knew, his wife has passed. He was going to need to, do some estate stuff. He was going to need some pods. He was going to need to sell some stuff. There was a lot involved. So I needed to find somebody that was patient, that had the resources to work with him. So we found an amazing agent. We got him to the East Coast, found him an agent there that was, again, going to be patient with him and really go above and beyond. And then he called me a year and a half later and said, I don't like it here, and moved to Idaho. So I found him another agent in Idaho, but all using this system. So I took the time to interview them because I knew my client the best and really what they were looking for. And then I handed them off. When I knew they were in great hands, they had some conversations with them. And, and I still tracked that business. I still paid it, paid attention, stayed in contact, knew what was going on in the process. The agents were great on keeping me updated as well, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes they just get, busy in the business and, you don't really know what's going on. It's still my client. I still want to know what's going on. So I'm still having that communication with all parties. Trying not to interfere, just communicating. Okay, so get in here and grow this network. So that was 3 pieces of mailbox money. It's a piece of business that agent wouldn't have had if it wasn't for me. And when I when I get them on my end, I'm helping that agent out and I'm getting a piece of business from an agent that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So there's an easy to use referral, of course, agreement in there, and command allows you to find and connect with agents, based on their location, their production. Like I said, listing agent, buyer's agent, all of those different things are in there. So go in there, look at the migration of the moving comings and goings, and get a feel for what is the best areas out of, where you live, to see where you can build some of those referral networks as well. Yeah.
Kimberly, I have a question. So when you refer your client to another agent, did you lose that client because he has to sign with the refer agent, correct? Who the client belong to now?
I still consider them my client because maybe I've, done, work with them before. I'm close to transaction. So it's now their client. But I'm still going to remain part of that communication and follow up.
We'll keep that client. Like
if they've moved, that's a tough one because that agent, they've got to stay in touch. I'm always going to stay in touch. So if they come back to me and not to the other agent, it just depends on the situation.
Okay.
Yeah, I see what you're saying though. Yeah. If they moved out of state, and maybe that agent's there now, as long, because they could be, we call them orphan clients. Once a transaction's done, if an agent is not following up with them, they're an orphan client. They're free to anybody. Okay. I talk to my brand new agents that are just starting out, and they say, I want to farm this particular area. I say, great. Let's start out being the welcome committee. Set up a search in your MLS that you're getting notified of every closing that takes place in your neighborhood, and put something together and go be the welcome committee. Okay, because that transaction's closed. That relationship with that agent, even though they may keep, keep up with them afterwards, but that signed transaction of that listing is done because we've closed on that property. So I want to be the welcoming committee. Okay, I go and I put something together. I have a favorite, little Italian restaurant right outside my neighborhood. And I do small business, so it's family owned businesses, and I'll do a little gift card. I usually put together just some immediate numbers in the area, dry cleaners. There's a hair salon on there. We've got some different doctors and dentists and things like that, but it's just a small little list, and I give that to them. So now who are they going to remember?
Of course, you.
Or the one that just started a conversation with them. So think about orphan clients. It's another way to build business. So worldwide, I touched on this just a little bit earlier. Know that we are in 50 plus regions, including US and Canada. Okay, you can go in and look for referral partners in that area. Okay, be open to the possibility of where leads can come from anywhere in the world. Okay, so you can also add agents from the worldwide regions to your referral network. Okay, so just think about those countries, you know, outside of our own. Okay, do we have friends and family and connections elsewhere? Maybe we have a client who decides to sell their home and move to Puerto Rico for retirement. Okay, instead of leaving your client to find an agent in Puerto Rico, look them up in KW agents in that region. Okay, find that agent for them, create that win-win situation for your client and that other agent. Like I said, if you're traveling outside, you know, stop by some of these offices. All right, it's a great way to build relationships. Business to business referrals, we talked a little bit about those earlier, just making sure that if you raise your hand, if you have recommended, you know, any of your friends, family and neighbors to any of those particular businesses, make sure that there's some reciprocation. Okay, because I'm sure you've referred, you know, hairdressers, doctors, you know, dentists, vets, accountants, auto repair, just handyman in general, plumber, electrician, landscape. Okay, if you're referring your acquaintances to those businesses that you've come to respect and trust, you know, that can, you know, possibly a one-way referral, but let's make it reciprocal so that you develop those business relationships with those owners or managers of those favorite businesses. See how you can help each other. Okay, I've used the same dry cleaners since 2007. Okay, I absolutely adore them. They're amazing. I've got my business cards in there. They've referred me business. There's a couple of other agents that use the same one. So I'll put their business cards to the back. And then when they go in, they'll move them up forwards and move mine back. And it's been a joke for years. But they're just so good, you know, what they do. And if anybody's, you know, moving to the area, you know, they're like, hey, you know, reach out to Kimberly or reach out to Rick. And that's just a great way to build relationships. So think about those businesses, acquaintances that you've given out information. Can you have some conversations and how you can reciprocate that with each other? Handymans, that's, you know, that's the biggest one. People are asking on Facebook and my, you know, my communities for that all the time. So there is a section in your participant guide that you can write down the businesses that maybe you've already connected with or would like to connect with and see how you can grow some business together. So we talked a little bit earlier about different prospecting sources, as well as the sources that combine prospecting and marketing. So there's also geographic farming and events and seminars. So a collection of homes in a neighborhood that an agent, you know, chooses to focus their marketing and their prospecting efforts. When an agent says that they want to do a geographic farming, I talk to them about, you know, certain areas. Are you familiar with that area? Okay. Do you know what's up and coming? Do you know if there's new construction in the area? What do you know about the amenities in the area? Okay. I want to make sure, because, you know, farming is a long game. You know, you've got to be committed to working that farm once you begin. Because if you only send something one or two times, they don't know you, they don't trust you, they're not going to pick up the phone and want to work with you. Okay, so we want to pay attention to the number of, you know, homes in the area, what the turnover rate is, you know, what the price point is. You know, I even look to, you know, I go in and I see, you know, I'll make a list. I'll go into an area and look at the different brokerages. Is there a brokerage or an agent that has a little bit more market share? You know, not that I'm not willing to still, you know, jump in that area, but devote yourself to knowing everything about that area. Okay, maybe the history, the builders, the growth, what's going on, you know, your chamber of commerce or your community events. Okay, become a part of that community. Okay, people will start to recognize you as part of that community. Excuse me. You're also committing to staying in communication with those residents. Okay, keeping them informed of all that's happening in the area. Time over time over time. It's a commitment. Okay, so either pick your neighborhood, a neighborhood, you know, close by. You know, I'll have agents, you know, again, Houston's huge. So sometimes I'll have an agent
that maybe is not in a neighborhood. They live in an apartment. We'll pick an area, you know, within a radius of the market center. We just moved our market center about 3 miles away from our other building, and it's a beautiful area. So it's a great way to start, you know, getting our name out in the Tanglewood area. Okay. So think about all those things if you're going to start to, you know, to geographic farm. Okay. We want to make sure that we're, you know, maximizing your prospecting and your marketing with open houses, social media, conversation. Like I said, be the, you know, the welcome committee. Same thing that, you know, they talked about when you guys did sessions, you know, on open houses and social media. You know, what's those, you know, consider those daily success systems with conversations, adding those people into your database, sending out handwritten notes rather than, you know, going big with all of the houses in the neighborhood. But talk to your title company, you know, partners. We've got some First American, you know, title in our area has some systems that they'll go in and they'll do a farming list in, you know, and send it to me based on some certain parameters. You can do that with Kohl's Resource as well. I can go in and I can put in how long they've lived in their home, how much equity they've had in their home. So all these different parameters. So maybe houses, maybe there's 300 homes in a neighborhood, and I've narrowed it down now to, you know, 25. And I'm going to hit those 25 homes, you know, for the next 12 months. Okay, so you don't have to do a whole neighborhood. Start with just a few houses. Okay, again, it could be where you live, near where you live, an area you would like to live. Okay, maybe where you grew up. Okay, around your market center area. Okay, but just, you know, what you might consider is just how you can handle that for the long run. Okay, so proximity, size, and cost are always going to be important in those. Door knocking is a key to farming. Okay, you're going to visit the neighbors, you're going to introduce yourself, you're going to be a resourceful agent. We don't want you to be pushy. Come from contribution always, and always be, you know, adding something of value. I let them know, you know, what's going on, you know, what's, you know, if their houses are selling in less than 30 days, you know, if a home sold, you know, above value, or I let them know what that percentage is. I can run a report that says, you know, 99.7% of the time homes are selling at list price or just above. You know, if there's any vendor referrals that you can utilize. Okay, again, just general information of, you know, that area. Get to know your builder partners. If you've got new construction going on in areas, get out there and meet those builders agents, build those relationships. You know, I tell agents, you know, go out there and find out what their plan is for the next 2 to 5 years. You know, are they going to be building additional sections? You know, or maybe they're closing out their sections and moving, you know, to a different area. Can you get on their, you know, their email lists? What's their current inventory? Okay, when are they, you know, if their inventory, if they've exhausted their inventory, when are they going to start building, you know, some new ones? Do they allow agents to host their inventory homes? If they're going to start construction on a new, you know, a new home, can you do some social media around that? Hey, they're breaking ground on Mayberry Street, you know, in, you know, Cannon Gate subdivision. You know, we're going to watch this home progress, or, you know, keep updated for the next video and see where they are in 2 weeks, whatever it might be. But that's free advertising for them. You know, you hashtag the heck out of that builder. Why not? There's a lot of opportunities for you to just not have to pick up the phone all the time. So see if you have anything local to your area that you can look for new construction as well. Build those relationships, because it's a great feeling when, you know, maybe you have a client, you know, that they're, you know, possibly they weren't thinking about new construction, but then they're like, oh, you know, we're going to stop by, this builder this weekend. Make sure you have the conversation about that. And if you already know that they're going to stop out, you know, I can call out to Kay Havanian and just say, hey, you know, Andy, I'm letting you know that Mr. and Mrs. Brown are coming out this weekend. I'm not, you know, I'm going to be out of town. And because I've built that relationship, they're saying, you know, don't worry about it, Kimberly, we'll take great care of them. If they have any additional questions, you know, I'll let you know if something comes to fruition, because I can trust them with my clients. Okay. Because in my area, of course, you have to be put down as the agent of record. in order to get paid. And that can't come afterwards, has to come up front. So make sure you're having those conversations with your clients if new construction is involved. But if you build those relationships, you can have that trust factor built in as well. But, geographic, I mean, like I said, door knocking for open houses, just solds, looking for listings. Okay. You may have had a listing that closed in the market center and it, might have been multiple offers. Well, there's still buyers looking for that neighborhood. That's a conversation to be had. Okay. We know agents who do, charity drives, community events, things like that. Neighborhood watch, neighborhood cleanups. We have a huge garage sale that we do in one of the neighborhoods. It's in the springtime and everybody pretty much saves up all their stuff for this one huge, weekend of garage, sales. And it's, highly promoted. We door knock like crazy. But it's a huge event and so many people participate. And that's just, that's just another way to get into your community. And remember, you're being a resource. You're not selling anything. So, if anybody's like, there's no solicitation, I'm not selling anything.
Can I repeat something you just said? Because I feel like it's worth repeating.
Yes, please.
The comment you just said about if you get multiple offers for a house that just got sold, door knocking in that neighborhood, that would be a great way to, it's just that is a great way to kind of build interest, because maybe someone's like, oh, I don't want to wait, 30 days. I'm like, no, I've got buyers ready right now.
Right now, we still have buyers that were lost out on this house. So, I'm out here seeing if there's, any sellers that are, interested in selling, because we still have buyers that want to be in your neighborhood. It's a great one. And circle prospecting too can go along with that.
What if the buyers are already represented?
Well,
you contact their agent, right?
Well, yeah. Well, these are, this would be a situation where it's, either my listing and or a listing in our office that I have some more, maybe, more in-depth information, know that it, was a multiple offer situation. And, we got all these offers in, but it's still, there's a buyer out there. So if they're looking to sell their home, I can list their home, or I can help them be a for sale by owner.
You never know.
It doesn't always have to be, the thing is, if I'm helping somebody and coming from contribution, that's going to lead to something else.
True.
So
Yeah, because they will appreciate your getting in touch with them. Us. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So two of the final, lead sources, of course, events and seminars. And you may not feel just prepared just yet, but they can be very lucrative, leads. So events are get-togethers, organized and or hosted by you. Okay, successful agents, you can get creative when it comes to events. Events are meant to attract leads. Okay, they don't have to relate directly to real estate. Okay, like I said, we have the neighborhood garage, we have the park cleanup, where I can supply bags. Again, I like to do the water bottles with the labels on them. We did a community event we did it after Thanksgiving, and it was just a photographer, did it in a local park. They did, we did just, family pictures in a nice setting. So they had those pictures, early December, so they could use them for their Christmas card if they wanted to. So there's just a ton of different ways that you can do some events, and they don't have to be, expensive. Somebody said, well, they do their Easter egg hunt, and they'll dye a ton of eggs, and we're like, not this year. we'll be painting potatoes this year for the Easter egg hunt. And if you grew up in a small town where you toilet TP'd and did some egg throwing at some time, we're not doing those things anymore. Too expensive. But think of those low cost ideas. Okay, definitely to start out with. Again, seminars, another great lead generator as well. You can be seen as the expert immediately. That's what I say about first-time home buyer seminars. You get to be the expert on real estate, and then you bring in your partners, and they get to to walk them through who's going to be a part of the transaction and how they can help them. Okay. Know that when you have agents or clients that, you know, are selling a home in an area and maybe moving to a different state, you know, guys, take some time to find out, you know, about some things in and around their area that they're moving to. Provide that information to them. You never know. Just continue to be the resource. Seminars that definitely allow you to diversify your database, okay, and expand it. Underserved communities in every region, okay. Make sure you're intentionally learning about those communities, their needs, okay. How can you help people in different areas? Think about in your local area, what can you help with? How can you provide, you know, valuable information in any type of seminar event? Okay, so make sure that you are listening for them, talking about them, referring them, but just everywhere you go. Okay, do not discount anyone. Okay, learn to love hunting for the leads. Okay, your business, your wallet, your bank account will thank you. Just always keep that in mind. How can I come from contribution? And how can I help people? How can I be the resource? So make sure you capture every lead, make sure you're using your command database at a high level. Okay, make sure that you're utilizing your success systems, you know, and adding those contacts to your database. Okay, everybody and anyone goes in that database, not just people with a real estate need, everybody. Okay, because it's all about top of mind awareness. Okay, when they're out and about, they think of you first. That's it. Any questions for me?
I just have a quick question. Going back to where you were talking about the labels on the water bottles, how do you have someone that makes those for you, or?
Yeah, Office Depot. They used to have them where, you know, if you put them in water, of course they fell apart, but now they have where you can, so I print out, you know, they have the, you know, the template, that's the word I'm looking for,
okay,
to create them. And then they're waterproof now. So I just take them off, you know,
Hey.
and then put my information on there. So it's my logo,
right,
you know, KW Energy, and then all of my information. And I just keep them in my car, you know, and just hand them out. I'll take them to open houses, any event that I do, I have the water bottles.
Yeah. Okay, I had thought about that in the past. I had heard about that, but I just hadn't tried it because I wasn't sure where to get the labels or the template to do the labels.
Yep, Staples, Office Depot, anybody should have those.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Guys, it was an absolute pleasure. I love teaching Ignite at Night, or Ignite After Dark, just because the community is, you know, across the country, and, you know, you're here with us late into the evening, and that means just you're committed, you know, you're learning based, you're showing up, you're going to build an amazing business. I did put my name and information in the chat, you know, reach out at any time. Have a great week. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
I look
Thank
forward.
you.
I think I'm teaching again.
Thank you.
So I'll see y'all again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.